Yeah.
Witness me!
Shiny and chrome? Welcome to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we're watching Mad Max Fury Road from 2015, directed by George Miller. So, Bill, what do you think of Mad Max Fury Road?
I think it's the most intense game of Mario Kart and the most intense episode of Wacky Races I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie and I love it. I mean, people say the movie's like one giant car chase, and it pretty much is.
Mostly, yeah.
It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Especially when it's this good.
Yeah. You know, and it's kind of like a simple movie in some ways, too. It's like, who's Mad Max? It's just like, he's like a wanderer through like the wasteland of the world who is haunted by his past.
He's insane.
Yeah.
The world is also insane.
Yeah. He's haunted by those he couldn't save. Like, he does have a sense of justice, but it's kind of eroded away like the world, you know? But, yeah, it's a pretty awesome movie. It was like a shockingly, surprisingly awesome movie when it first came out, just because it was like George Miller. He didn't really direct anything like this in a while. He was like kind of doing like kids movies, and people were like, does he still have it?
Did Babe Pig in the City and like the Happy Feet movies, and then all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna go back to Mad Max. It's like, can he still do this? He's like really old.
Yeah.
He's been making like family movies, and then he just came out with this, and everyone was like, holy crap.
It's insane. I mean, the Mad Max world is ridiculous and doesn't make sense because it's like the ocean evaporated, so there's no water. You never really know what the incident was.
I remember in the Mad Max game that kind of was a tie-in to this. There's little artifacts that detail like the fall of society, and it was just like, what happened? Oh, everything happened.
Yeah. But it's like an insane world just because it's like the ocean evaporated.
But I guarantee you that 160 days ride that way, there's nothing but salt.
It's just like, how did that happen? It's almost like the Mad Max world is like Earth is slowly becoming Venus, I guess, until it's eventually just nobody can live on it.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter what happened or how it happened. It just happened. That's all that matters, because it's not about that. It's about what happens after.
Yeah.
It's about what's left. The wasteland. That's all that's left.
Yeah. It's a very interesting, cool world.
The aesthetics, like the stuff made of other stuff. Furiosa's got the robot arm. Part of it's like a wrench or something. It's like everything's just kind of dirty and broken and rusted. It's just visually interesting.
It's very metal. Like, you know, it's like heavy metal kind of. You know, like Morton Joe and his war boys, and they kind of have like a very crazy look. I mean, Morton Joe is a cult leader.
Yes.
You know, he's like brainwashed all these like, you know, young men into following him, and like, you know, he has like a whole religion around him with like, you know, you will ride with me to Valhalla, you will be shiny and chrome.
They're holding their steering wheels like they're religious sacred artifacts.
Yeah. It's like insane. Like, and you know, one of the things about Morton Joe is like I hate him just because he is like a crazy cult leader and he sucks.
Oh, he's so disgusting. He's like dying. He's got all these like sores over him, but he's like trying to hide behind this like veneer of like, I'm a god. He's got like a fake muscle suit almost.
Yeah.
And like the mask that deepens his voice.
Yeah, and like, you know, he's got like a respirator too, which I don't know what the deal is, but like, you know, his other son, and I guess he has two sons. He has like the one son that's like kind of like, you know, like deformed and stuff, and he also has like air tubes, but then his like son that looks big and strong also has air tubes. So
well, I think much like the War Boys, they all just got like cancer, and they're all just like slowly dying.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, you know, it could be that, like, it's like radiation sickness, possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This world probably got irradiated.
It's a crazy, like, harsh world, honestly. You know, like, the whole plot of the movie is, like, you know, Morton Joe, crazy cult leader, you know, of course, tells his followers, like, you know, you have to like, be strong and, survive on what little I give you, yet like the leader has an abundance of everything,
Yep.
including his like prize breeders and stuff,
Oh
which are
man.
trying to escape from his like horrible place.
Yep.
Like, man, there's like a lot of weird stuff in the movie, like the mother's milk thing.
Yeah.
You're like, man, Mad Max world is just like so crazy.
It establishes right away a lot of it just visually that this world is horrible, it's brutal, it's this guy's a heinous monster, and yeah, you want people to get away from him because he's evil, he sucks.
At the beginning of the movie too, like I love how this movie just starts. It like barely has any exposition besides for like maybe like one or two lines of narration at the beginning, Max being haunted by like the past, and then immediately captured by like Morton Joe's like war boys and stuff, and then essentially becoming like a slave. Gets like branded, he gets like tattooed on his back, which I don't even know if like that tattoo on his back is like they're adding on to like his back of like here are all like the names and stuff that like over the years Max has been owned by and has escaped.
I think they were
what?
writing like stats, like
Yeah.
dangerous, he bites, he's got O negative blood, so he's a universal donor. Like
Yeah.
they were basically just like putting like almost nutritional information on him or fucked up like that.
Yeah.
Because they turned him into basically a living blood bag for Nux.
Yeah. Like people are just commodities in this like world. It's just like
Brutal, horrible, nightmare world.
yeah. You mentioned Nux, which I think is Nicholas Holt.
Yes.
Which is like, whoa. Man, kind of early days Nicholas Holt too.
You were just beast a couple times. Now you're this? What the hell?
Yeah.
This movie's got a few people of note. You got Charlize Theron as Furiosa. You got Tom Hardy as Max.
Yeah.
One of the escaping brides is Catwoman.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's that Zoe Kravitz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane. Like the aesthetic of the movie is where it like shines. We've got Morton Joe's like war party, and it's just like too ridiculous. Like he's got like all his different vehicles, which are all pretty cool looking, and then of course he's got his like guy with the electric guitar and the like flamethrower. Just like, well, we're gonna need music while chasing these people, so
Yeah. It's crazy. This is like they took the Road Warrior and it's like, we need to up the ante and just turn it up to 11, inject it with steroids. And this is what I think George Miller must have always had in his mind when he made like the old Mad Max movies, like at least Road Warrior,
yeah.
where it was just like, yes, this insane, chaotic world.
Yeah, it's nuts too because a good chunk of it was done like kind of like practically too. Like there's definitely like a lot of visual effects too, but like the guys on like the poles swinging back and forth, like
Yeah,
those are like real people.
Yeah,
I think the guitar guy was like a real person. I don't think the flames were real, but like
Probably not.
the guy like
maybe they
swinging
were.
around.
I don't know.
That would be insane. It's just like we invented a flamethrower guitar for this movie.
Would have been pretty metal.
George Miller's like, I did that. I'm 81 years old. I think he was like 70 something when he made this movie. Now he's like 80 something.
And he made another one.
Yeah. He's like, man, if you thought my movie when I was 70 was crazy, just wait till you see my movie when I was 80.
Jeez, if he makes it to 90, what the hell are we gonna get next?
Man. Yeah. It's insane. It's weird too. I don't get too much characterization of Furiosa besides for like the fact she's kind of like part of Morton Joe's crew. I forget exactly what her rank is, but she's
Imperator.
Yeah, Imperator. That's right.
Yeah, and clearly she does not like working for him.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do it anymore, and she's helping these people get to what she called the green place where she was from because she was captured as a child, and somehow a series of events that are now being detailed in a prequel movie coming soon turned her into what she is now, a one-armed badass.
Yeah.
And she's looking for redemption.
Yeah. Don't really know what the redemption is besides for like the obvious of like I've worked for Morton Joe for a long time and I've done a lot of terrible things.
But if I do this one good thing, if I save these girls, I'll at least can know that I did one good thing.
Yeah.
Did something right for a change. And then Max is just sort of like, I guess I'm doing this now. Because I guess that's his thing. He just wanders into stories and then just like, I got to deal with this. Fuck.
It is pretty cool because like in the movie, at the beginning, Mad Max, he's kind of just in it for himself, just trying to escape when, you know,
He's very feral.
yeah.
I feel like at the beginning of this story, Max has been away from people for a while.
Yeah.
He's got like long hair, a beard. He's more unhinged. He's very unhinged
Yeah.
at the start. He kind of starts to get a little more lucid, I guess, towards the end. Still a little like not quite right, but he's like might get there one day. But he's very broken, and because something happened, he failed to save some people. Maybe it was detailed in a tiny comic or video game.
Maybe.
Winky face.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing too, because like at the beginning of the movie too, like Furiosa is like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Doesn't matter." She's like, "Okay, fine, I'll just call you Fool then." Like,
and after a whole adventure and character development, he tells her his name is Max.
yeah, my name's Max. I'm very mad.
My name is Maximilian. Quite mad, you see.
Oh man, Maximilian, Maximus.
Decimus Meridius.
He has some great moments in the movie, as he should. But I think one of my favorite moments is when they're in that like kind of weird swamp place. They're being chased by, this insane guy that gets shot in the face and goes blind and is still like,
Yes.
the
bullet
going
farmer.
after- Yeah.
Yes.
And Max is just like, "Hey, if I don't come back, just like go without me." And he just like goes into like the fog with like a gun and like a tank of gasoline, and then like it's just kind of quiet. You hear like a huge explosion. Comes back, he's just like covered in blood, and then they're like, the one girl's like, "Is he bleeding?" It's like, that's not his blood. Like,
I love that part.
Yeah.
That to me is like the most badass thing he does in the movie. We don't even see it, but we don't even need to because it's like, holy shit, what did he do?
yeah, it's just like he's that good. I mean, there's a lot of great moments with like just Mad Max and Furiosa, like just shooting people while driving and like switching up guns and stuff. Like, it's really cool. The sound design of the movie is like incredible. Like from like just like all the gunshots to like the guns going off like close to Max's head, and you hear the ears ringing and stuff. Like the music is insane. I think it's Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL, but maybe it's just Junkie XL.
I think it might just be Junkie XL.
Yeah, I don't know, but like it probably is just Junkie XL, honestly. But it's insane. Like it just keeps going. It's so good. Like, I don't know. There's so many great moments in this movie.
A lot of interesting visuals, like the weird, I don't know what you would call them, the weird people on the stilts in the swamp or something.
Yeah.
What we find out later might be what's left of the green place, because it turns out it's gone.
Yeah.
'Cause of course it is, because nothing can survive in the wasteland, because it's the wasteland.
Yeah. There's still birds around. Still see birds. See that lizard at the beginning? That
Two-headed lizard.
Yeah, which Max just eats.
Gotta eat what you can in them.
Yeah. See the cricket that, Nux eats, the war boy.
Look, man, in the wasteland, you can't be picky.
Yeah.
In the Mad Max game, one of the things you can eat to like heal yourself is maggots.
Oh, gross.
And canned dog food.
Yeah. I think one thing I really like about this movie is like, we don't really see any like illusions of like the old world. Like they never go to any ruins or anything. It's just the world is just this now.
I think it's probably at a point where this is just all that's left.
Yeah.
Like maybe there isn't anything left.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is just Australia.
I mean, that too. I mean, what is Australia besides for like a giant wasteland for the most part, except by the coast? It's a big, crazy desert.
I know people try to like figure out how and if this movie can connect to the old movies, but I don't think it really can. Maybe it can. I don't think George Miller cared. He just wanted to make a new Mad Max movie.
Yeah, because each one seems to get like more extreme, where like the world just like seems to be like more and more broken each time.
I know in the first one, it just seems like, from what I understand, it's like it just seems like the 70s.
Yeah.
I guess things are a little bad, but things seem relatively normal. But then all of a sudden in the next movie, it's just people on trucks and everything's gone and everything blew up.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but isn't Morton Joe like the same actor as like the villain from like one of the other Mad Max movies?
I think it's the same actor that was a bad guy in the first Mad Max movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was someone that worked with George Miller a few times. I think he was also supposed to be George Miller's version of Martian Manhunter at one point.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, like Morton Joe too, and like he kind of like the whole movie is just like them kind of escaping, and then being like, there's literally nothing else for us to go.
Because
like
the place they were going doesn't exist, and as Max tells Furiosa, all that's out there is salt.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's gone. It's all gone.
Yeah, because like Furiosa's like, we have enough gas and food for like 140 days, and like Max is just like, you literally would not get anywhere. like,
Yeah, he's the one that has the idea to like, why don't you just turn around and go back and just take that citadel? They all came out after you.
yeah,
You just blow up that canyon, trap them, you're good.
yeah, and you know the final car chase is pretty spectacular. Morton Joe gets his comeuppance.
Yes.
Like he gets his face ripped off, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
So brutal. There's a few brutal things in this movie. One of the pregnant bride, at least the one that's very pregnant, gets
Yeah.
run over, and then she's still kind of alive when they cut the dead baby out of her.
Oh yeah.
It's so messed up.
You
Even
know-
though you don't really see it, it's still brutal in principle.
Yeah, I mean, you see the feet, like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, geez, like, the guy doing it is just, like, still, like, I don't know, like, nonchalant about it. It's just like, yeah, in another month, and you're like, oh, God, like, it's a horrible world.
Well, it would have been nice, but oh well, what are you going to do, mate?
Yeah. But, man, there's, like, it seems like, too, like, a lot of the people that are, like, you know, in charge of these like factions, like they're all like gross. Like we see like I don't know which owner he is. Maybe it's like the owner of Gastown, where he's got like the nose, and then he's
The
like
big
this-
fat guy, yeah.
he's got the like disgusting feet and
Yeah.
whatever. Like he's all gross, and you're just like, oh man, like these people that just have like overabundance, and they're all like sick and, you know, creepy and stuff.
They all die horribly.
Yeah,
Though we don't really see how the bullet farmer guy dies, but I'm sure he died horribly.
yeah, he was burned alive.
Oh yeah, Max didn't leave him alive.
Yeah. That water they were driving over when they were in that like kind of like swampish area was probably like toxic sludge that made that explosion as big as it was,
Maybe.
you know. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, it's just like insane, the world, and like it's also like a world where it's just like, don't think too hard about it. That's just how it is, you know.
Mad Max is a fantasy.
Yeah.
It's grounded in that, you know, really it's like not magic or anything like that, but it's still a fantasy. It's a fantasy apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because how did this happen? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It happened. That's all that mattered.
Yeah. It's like, this is the world now.
It didn't matter how we got to point B. It just mattered that we got to point B, and then this is the crazy shit that's happening in it.
You know, jumping around, like, I kind of just love the way the movie ends, too, with, like, Mad Max gets him to the Citadel, and then, like, he just, like, walks into, like, the, like, desert at the end. It's just like, okay.
He's like, I gotta go get my car.
Yeah.
Mad Max, he's a wanderer.
Yeah.
The desert calls him. The plains of silence.
Yeah. You know, it's just kind of cool. Like, you know, he is a hero, but, like, he's like, I don't need your thanks or anything. Like,
He's not,
you know?
he doesn't seem to be the kind of person that would stay.
Yeah.
It's just not in him. He just has to go.
Yeah.
He doesn't know why, but he must.
Yeah.
Presumably also to get his car. What's
Yeah.
left of it.
Exactly.
They blew up his car, then they fixed it, and it got blown up again. He's like, I gotta fix it again, son of a bitch. If they weren't already dead, I'd kill them.
Yeah, it's weird too, because like, you know, one thing in the movie is like, you know, they say Gastown, and one thing that I always get confused is like, are they referring to water as guzzling at one point, or what? Because like they have like so many weird names for stuff. Because like they say like a Morton Joe.
No,
pumps,
because
like,
they say water.
they do, but like there's like one part where they're like, a Morton Joe controls guzzling and he pumps it out of the ground, and I'm like, is that referring to water, or is that something different?
No, because they mention water being called like aquacola.
Aquacola. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure guzzling is just a weird way to say gasoline.
Okay.
Where does the water come from?
He pumps it up from deep in the earth, calls it aquacola, and claims it all for himself.
Morton Joe has quite the setup.
I think it's kind of amusing that the bad guys called Morton Joe one of the good guys is named Max, but then we got characters like Furiosa,
Yeah.
Rictus, and like weird things like that, weird names like that.
Yeah. Nux.
Splendid.
Yeah.
But then it's like you got normal names. It's just like this weird world.
Yeah. I guess like one other thing to mention is like, we get the war boy Nux, who kind of has his like sort of arc where gets sort of disillusioned by like Immortan Joe's religion.
And he kind of falls in love with one of the brides, and he gets redeemed because of it, because love redeems, because this is a fantasy story.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy, that one part too, where like, he comes back and like he's on Immortan Joe's like cruiser, and like Immortan Joe says like, if you do this for me, I will personally bring you to Valhalla. And he like jumps on the car and immediately trips, and Immortan Joe's like, oh god, like,
Mediocre.
yeah. It's just like, man, he just sucks so much, Immortan Joe.
I mean, I don't want to defend Immortan Joe because he's a bad guy and he sucks, but I mean, Nux fell down like a moron.
Oh yeah, he did.
He tripped immediately. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
He did, but like, I'm just like, get your fat ass on top of this car, Immortan Joe.
Fair is fair. He is out there driving. He could have stayed at the Citadel being like, where are they?
It's true. He is driving, so we got to give him that. He is driving pretty good.
He's leading from the front.
Yeah.
He is a frontline general. He's got those medals that he gave himself, probably.
It's just kind of insane because, like, it's just like this guy somehow he like lucked out into this situation in this world.
Somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever know any more of his backstory. Are they going to explain any of it in Furiosa? Because I know he's in it.
Yeah.
Played by a new actor because the original actor passed away.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, Furiosa is like one of those movies that, like, when you hear like they're making a Furiosa movie, you're like, okay, that's cool. It's a prequel. Oh, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I'm a little about that. However, last time we doubted George Miller, he made Mad Max Fury Road. So.
And to be fair, I guess like by doing a prequel, it's just like, okay, so like Furiosa gets to keep her happy ending at the end of Fury Road.
True,
because if you went forward from that, like everything had to like get like fucked up again.
Yeah,
and she's like in the desert.
It'd be nice if her story gets left alone in the aftermath.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're getting I don't know if we'll ever get another Mad Max movie with Tom Hardy. Probably not at this point.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they'll make one without George Miller. I don't know. Maybe not anytime soon.
Yeah, who knows?
But, if they made one going forward, it'd just be Tom Hardy somewhere else. But, I think a lot of shenanigans got in the way of it taking 9 years for even this Furiosa movie to exist.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know all the things. I know, like, Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy didn't like working together on this movie.
I think they did mend fences, but there was also, like, some kind of, like, financial disagreement between George Miller and Warner Brothers. Wow, Warner Brothers getting in bad with a filmmaker.
Wow. Man.
Who'd have thunk it? It's been
Can't
happening.
believe that happened.
It's been happening a lot lately.
Yeah. I mean,
It's only cost them Christopher Nolan
yeah.
and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, we'll see. They're under new management. That
It's just gonna file everything away for tax purposes.
yeah, Dev doesn't want it. Whatever. I don't know.
Look, the point is, if that didn't happen, maybe we would have gotten another Mad Max movie by now.
Yeah.
Because I know we always wanted to do this. He's been talking about it for a long time. He was also talking about doing another proper Mad Max movie, but who knows if that'll ever happen?
Yeah.
Unless he's been secretly filming it and we don't know about it.
Man.
It's like, where's Tom Hardy? Is he in the desert?
Yeah. I kept meaning to look up like what desert did they actually film this movie in, because like I know like a lot of the movie probably was like augmented with like visual effects.
But they're actually out there in a desert.
Yeah, and I was just like curious, like what desert is that? Because like it kind of looks like Mars and sometimes.
Well, that's a lot of that's color grading and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They do a lot of day for night stuff to give it this almost like otherworldly feel to it.
Yeah.
I know that getting just this one made was insane because he had the idea for a long time and gestated for years, and he tried to do it, couldn't quite. Apparently, not 9/11 prevented it. Then he had Mel Gibson's Fall from Grace happened.
Yeah.
Then he's like, all right, I got it. I got one of my new Mad Max choices. I got the perfect guy, Heath Ledger.
Oh.
Yeah. That's apparently something that happened. He was looking at Heath Ledger for, I guess that might have got kind of far, then he passed away.
That would have been cool. That would have been very interesting.
And, just more shenanigans. And then they eventually took a while to get to this one. I've heard before, they filmed most of the movie. I think they ran over budget. They were told to, all right, stop, make the movie with what you got. It's like, we don't have the beginning or the ending filmed.
Oh, man.
We never got to film the Citadel scenes.
Wow.
And the heads of Warner at the time were like, we don't care. But then there was a change in management. And I think it was that Kevin Tsuchihara guy who, well, he fell from grace for other shenanigans, but
Yeah.
he was just like, oh, yeah, no, you should probably film those.
Yeah. I'm glad they did, because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I've never watched the black and chrome version. I always mean to, but it's kind of like a novelty. But I'm like,
Yeah, well, black and white. I don't need that. I can just watch the color version.
yeah,
I don't need to watch a modern movie in black and white. Nothing against black and white movies. It's just like, what's the point?
I don't know.
Part of this movie's appeal is the color.
Yeah,
Like that bleak desert landscape. You lose something in black and white with that.
yeah. I don't know. Like, it's a crazy movie. It's a crazy world. It's, in some ways it's like the best visuals, and in some ways with just like there's just like a lot of cool like imagery in the movie.
Cool designs, the buzzard cars, those like just like covered in spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
I mentioned it a couple times, but that Mad Max game is pretty good. It's a hidden gem. It's absolutely worth playing, especially if you like this movie and like this world. You could actually get to spend some time in this world in that game
In this horrible, horrible world.
and fight your way through the wasteland,
Yeah.
death races and such.
Hey, that game is pretty cheap now for like a digital download too.
There you
I
go.
saw it as cheap as like $5 that I'm like, I should get this game.
That's pretty good for a pretty solid game. Like,
Yeah.
your car mechanics like GTA, combat is a little Arkham inspired.
Yeah, it seems like that type of game is like, if possible, I'm just never gonna leave the car. Like,
You have to leave.
oh man, I just want to like drive into the Citadel and just start doing donuts and killing people.
Look, there's plenty of stuff you could do with the car, but there's stuff you have to do outside of the car.
Yeah, of
Sorry.
course, got your cool probably double barrel shotgun and all other stuff. But yeah, I'll say go watch Mad Max Fury Road, and hopefully Furiosa will be pretty cool too.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, recent trailer, I was like, okay, this could be something. Chris Hemsworth's a bad guy? That's interesting.
That is interesting. But looks good. And I guess at the end of the day, you can't doubt George Miller.
I gotta circle back, watch Road Warrior. I guess the other ones too, but everyone says Road Warrior is the best of the old ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. But I guess that's Out of Touch podcast for this week. Go watch Mad Max Fury Road.
Mediocre.